Um, Welcome to another broadcast of the best nightly showing both sides of the road. Tonight, speaking with me, Tania Vega and Luisa Tamayo, we will present an account of the efforts of the government and the health system against the necessary implementations to counter the COVID pandemic, mainly in the economic impact and those have had on the country. So then we bring as guest the Dr. Julie Vargas, graduate as a surgeon from the National University, specialist in international medicine and master in epidemiology from the Pontificia University. Uh, on the other have the Secretary of the Ministry of Finance, the professional economist Alejandra Rincon from the External University in Colombia with a master in economics of public policy from the University of Rosario. One, the first question is, since the beginning of the situation, the Colombian national government, uh, together with the health system, had adopted different control measures to prevent the spread of the virus, such as strict quarantines, mobile restrictions, blocking of national and international trips, as well as imports and exports, amongst others. These measures have clearly directly affect the national economic and therefore the family basket from analysis of health prevention versus the need of the country and the monetary flow. What you consider have been the positive and negative consequence of this mm, of this.
In this case, the measures taken in Colombia at the beginning of the pandemic were not adequate. Since a total closure was carried out all the cities of the country, the biosecurity protocols at the beginning, such as hands washing, masks, restriction of massive events, did not have adequate control. The management that the government had together with the health ministry at the beginning was to close to the entire country, which was no ideal since trade was affected. At the beginning of the pandemic, the levels of the contagion, according to the page of Colombia Ministry of Health, there were an approximate of 491 to 100 cases per day from the end of March to the beginning of the September 2020, compared to the current date, which is 20,000 cases per day. Therefore, it was not available to make a closer total, but a partial closer. Reinforcing biosafety protocols, controlling clandestine parties and massive events, and being more meticulous with the national and international trips that have come to presenting throughout the pandemic so as not affected business in way.
Well, first of all, it must be considered that the total closure measures occurred at the beginning of the pandemic despite the fact that radical and extreme were totally necessary to guarantee life and public health. However, the impacts that the current situation had in the Colombian economy. It's its point out that in a scenario where the operation of the different economic sectors it's reduced by 37% and 49% as a result of preventive isolation measures. The associated economic cost is in the range of 48 to 65 trillion pesos, 40.5 to 60.1% of GDP per month. For its part, the CD 2020 estimates that closing the sectors most vulnerable to preventive isolation measures will cost at least 10% of GDP each month. One of the gaps present in the studies mentioned are regional impacts. The different territories will have differential effects according to the severity of the pandemic, their economic structure, the degree of informality in their workforce, and the interrelationship between the different economic sectors, where some will be more exposed to isolation than others.
Okay. Second question. Since the end of last year, the process of equation and lodgings management for the distribution of vaccines began at the national level.
However, there have been several budgetary and negotiations problems between the government and the international market, which led to a failure to complete with the stipulated schedules. According to your field of knowledge, could you indicate whether vacation vaccination plans have been carried of correlate efficient way?
Well, it is estimated that by the end of this year, 70% of the population must be immunized. But at the end of the March of this year, Colombia has only administered doses to that 5% of this population. Most are the first of a necessary guideline of two, which is the complete schemes is in the bodies of just 16,000 Colombians. As of June 30, it is reflected that in Colombia, 13.9% of the population have been vaccinated due to deals in the pressures of the vaccine. It cannot be estimated that 17% of the population is immunized compared to other countries of Latin America with an economy similar economy to that of Colombia. It is reflected that, for example, Chile and Uruguay are the only Latin American countries that have managed the immunized more than half of their population with at least one dose of the coronavirus vaccine. According to data from the June 13, 2001, 2021, from the Our World in Data portal, Chile has administered almost 18.9 million doses, currently has 56.6% of its citizens vaccinated, at the less partly. In Uruguay, one of the Latin America countries with the smallest numbers of inhabitants, the 2.9 million doses applied translate into 53.7% covered nationwide.
Well, regarding the distribution of vaccines, several factors have had great influence on that its process allows efficiency. Beyond the budget generated by the government, Colombian inability to produce vaccines, and the disadvantage that the Colombian territory has compared to high-income countries that have accrued the most of the vaccines, though the few laboratories that are producing them. Taking into account that the laboratories that are producing the vaccine are very limited, and over demand for the vaccine has been generated, thus avoiding that countries with three-level economies they access vaccines efficiently and quickly. On the other hand, for the acquisition of vaccines, the budget allocated for the agreements that have been signed so far at up to 1.53 trillion pesos. These resources have been provided by the Minister of Finance for the respective shopping. With an annual healthcare budget of just 10 billions for a population of about 50 million, Colombia is one of many countries who have difficulty meeting the cost of vaccines. Colombia has signed direct supply agreements with Pfizer, BioNTech, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, and the Chinese pharmaceutical company Sinovac.
Okay. And to finish, three questions. If you were elected as the president of Colombia, what would you contribute to improve education in the poorest territories of the country?
Well, if I were elected as the president of Colombia, the best idea to transform education in the country is to transform the social and material living condition of the students. When we end the deep inequality that translates into the low wages for their mothers and fathers, which translates into fragile and unstable homes. When that happens, we will be talking about a change in education in Colombia.
Well, to improve education in Colombia, the base must be analysis first. Science teachers need to be trained in innovative teaching methodologies according to the new trends. In this way, we can raise the educational system that our country needs so much. Thank you.
Thank you to
Thank you, finish.
everyone.